Hello again, guys. Right, this is an answer to Joseph, who asked where I was after about a year through the process of learning to trade, and it is something that I can not answer in a tweet, and it is something that really deserves a sort of conversation about, because it's important for anyone that starts out in this to understand that the hardest thing you will have to overcome is your mind. Over trading, you hear it 1,000 times, whether you listen to it or not and actually take it on board, it will kill your account. Fear and greed, fear of missing trades, FOMO, that's a massive account killer. And taking that one extra trade, because you're convinced it's going to work out properly, will kill your account as well. Believe me, I've done it 1,000 times as well, and that's greed. Now, the way I overcame it, to sort of sidestep the original question, personally, was to find one good time of day to trade it and close my account, and do that day in, day out. It was probably one of the hardest things I ever had to do, because at that point, 3.5, 4 years down the road, there I am trying to convince myself and probably my family, my wife, that I'd made the right decision to concentrate so hard on trading. And 4.5 years down the line, or 4 years down the line, I still hadn't made the break to full-time trading. So, if you're looking at trading as a quick way to wealth and financial freedom, then you're looking at the wrong job. So to answer the original question, so going back to, so one trade a day, pre-Frankfurt Open, meant I had, I'd got the whole day to study charts and do other stuff. So, fortunately I built another business alongside the trading, and managed to maintain an income, because I've done that many times, online and offline. And until trading could carry me through. So, unless you've got that external income or a full-time job, I've been self-employed virtually all my working life, from about the age of 22, so a long time. Unless you can earn money outside of your trading education, as it were, then you shouldn't be even entertaining it. Quite often you get students and even young school children, 15, 16, 17, whatever, seeing this and think it's their way to financial freedom. My advice to anyone under the age of about 45 or 50, make sure you have a good career or a trade or something before you even open a MetaTrader or open a trading demo account. So if that sounds harsh or negative, it's just reality, to be honest with you. It was my reality anyway. So Joseph, my advice is, if you can trade one session a day, own that session, find a method that you can do that with, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't be here showing people my method if I didn't think it had merit in that respect. So as I've said in a past video, best times of day to trade, I really do honestly believe the end of the day, which is great for everyone in my opinion, but possibly not if you're living in Australia or New Zealand, but I haven't really thought it through. The end of the day, 6 p.m. UK, around there, between 5 and 7, is a great time to catch reversals. But reversals happen at any time of the day, if you've watched today's video, or watched the charts, you could have seen that during the DAX reversal. So one trade a day, close your charts, go away and open your demo chart and just trade that and watch price action if you can. As to the answer to where I was after 12 months, I'd probably found Forex. I remember I found indicators. I found what I thought was the Holy Grail. I remember it was a method, and I thought, my God, this is fantastic, you know. Then I managed to find a group of traders that I think the most important thing if you're a beginner is to find someone that's genuinely trading for a living. You know, the guy that, you know, just sounds right. You know, I found a scalper that was a full-time musician, that's difficult to say, and you know, he'd say, I've just done this trade and I've paid for the wife's kitchen, or I've just done this trade and I've got a holiday to the UK booked or whatever. And then there was another guy, and he was in New Zealand, and he sounded like the real deal. And these guys held my hand, as it were. You know, they weren't mentors, they were just people like, Twitter wasn't about in those days, so people on forums, you log in, chat, not watch them trading, but just watch them looking at charts and talking about charts. And then, sorry if this is boring anyone, but after that, once you'd found what they considered to be the right method, or there was nothing around like there is today, so they were trading support and resistance and trends. And then they found a guy, or, you know, we all found a guy together. I don't know how it works. You know, someone says, oh, this is interesting, that's interesting. And yeah, is that the real deal? Yes, it's the real deal. It sounds kosher. Start chatting to this trend trader, support and resistance trader. And long story short, he said he had this secret method that, you know, thinking back, it was just so lucky that these guys that I knew not mentored me but guided me in the right direction, and a few others of us as well. And they said, yeah, this guy's got the one that was had this secret method. It talks a lot of sense. He had these magical indicators, proprietary indicators, which was the secret stuff. And he offered to mentor a group of us, probably about 20. So that was probably 8 or, you know, say 6 months into the first year. Then I spent the next 6 months in this room with these guys, following this guy with his secret indicators and whatnot. And then eventually that held no value, which is why I say rooms are worthless, because you have to find your own method. You can't just watch a mentor take a trade, come into the room, say yes, 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 this is the trade, and you might take it, you might make money that time, you might make 300 or 400 quid, whatever, and think you're the bee's knees, and then you will close the room. He'd have us in the room for 2 hours or whatever at the London Open. Then you'd close the room and you'd blow everything maybe before the next session, and then you'd do it all again and you'd blow everything, or double blow 4 times what you'd made in the live room. The point is, you cannot rely on people's calls in a live room, because they don't always happen. You cannot rely on signal services, anything like that. You soon realize that the only way you can do it is devise a system for yourself that works, which I've talked about many times. So that's what I did. I realised the room was worthless, and so did everyone else. Gradually everyone left. Occasionally we'd log back in and see, you know, a couple still in there, and the guy still calling his stuff and getting grumpier and grumpier and more fed up with just dealing with so few people. In the end it all fizzled out. But the real eureka moment came when I realised it wasn't the method or it wasn't the system, it was me. And I've said that 1,000 times, I've tweeted it 1,000 times. You will be the reason you can't trade. Your mind, not any method, whether it's Bollinger Bands, breakouts, whatever, fade in, fade out. It is down to you. The methods are all good. Your patience and discipline will be what lets you down. And that's what you can't learn in a year or 6 months. And so, Joseph, sorry for the long-winded reply. After a year, I had just about realised what was the best method. And then the following 3.5 years, until I actually became profitable, I spent skipping around from strategy to strategy. And what I ended up really doing was proving to myself that every other strategy was nowhere near as good as the one I'd paid for. And that's what you're looking at now. Trend trading between support and resistance, using the exact same patterns on a 1-minute chart to enter the same pattern that you can see on an hourly chart or a daily chart. Trends within trends, using support and resistance. That's all I'm trading, and that's what this guy was showing us with plain bar charts, and enticed us into paying for his information by having these magical indicators. And it was clever, because by telling a bunch of newbies that thought indicators were the way forward with trading, he'd actually hooked us in. Not to say that he wasn't a really good trader, or that what he was showing us wasn't fantastic. It's in many respects, and without really realising that, that's almost what I'm doing now. I could trade plain charts, and I hadn't thought of this before this video, so that's interesting. And I'm showing you an indicator, the RSI Histo, that absolutely complements naked charts price action. And we've got this secret sauce, the RSI Histo, that for me makes so much sense. So probably his indicators made so much sense to him, but we couldn't, without having the basics, the low, the high, the higher low, the higher high, the break of old support becoming new resistance, and so old support, old resistance becoming new support, should I say. Without that, you are missing the point. So that's where I was. A year to find the best method, and then 3.5 years to teach myself that the best method was the best method. So I wasted 3.5 years really. Should have concentrated another year on what I was doing instead of flitting from method to method. So if that makes any sense to you, I hope it does. I think the one thing that I keep rambling home is don't waste your time jumping from method to method. If this doesn't work for you, then find a method of buying low, picking bottoms and selling high. There's loads of them on the internet, loads of them. Doesn't work for me, but it may well work for you, Joseph, and anyone else that's listening to this. So apologies for the long-winded video and possibly preachy, boring, and I don't mean it to be condescending in any way if it comes across that way to anyone listening to this, but I can't say it enough times. Find a method that you think is good, and then just teach yourself how to trade it, and don't keep flitting from one to the other to the other. Okay, this is Friday, it's midday. Have a good weekend, guys.